welcome everybody. I'm Sandra Turner, a radiation oncologist from Sydney, Australia, and welcome to the second global planning meeting for the World Radiotherapy Awareness Day initiative, which is going to launch, as you know, this year. It's come around quickly. So we're very excited to have so many people registered for this event. In fact, we're now up to about 300 people. And unlike our first event, where we all met in November, some of us in person and some of us online, everyone is meeting online today. And we're only running this in one time zone. So we apologise in advance to those of you that are either in a pretty bad time zone or are not going to be able to attend live, but we will be releasing the recording very shortly. So we hope that many of you that haven't been here with us now are actually going to be listening to us talking a bit later on and be able to share this session, the video, on your networks. So I'd like to introduce, first of all, my WRAD planning committee members. So first of all, the co-chair, Katie Wakeham, who you can see on screen, who's the co-host for today's session. She's a clinical oncologist in London, as many of you would know, and a convener of London Global Cancer Week in the UK. And the wider committee members are Michelle Leach, who's a professor of radiation therapy and is on the Estro Advocacy Task Force from Ireland. Darian Laird, who's representing the Global Coalition of Radiotherapy, and Lucinda Morris, a radiation oncologist and immediate past chair of Targeting Cancer campaign, also from Australia, and Sarah Quinlan, who's from the patient advocacy campaign group that many of you will be familiar with, Radiotherapy UK. So as you can see, we're already a collaboration between several radiotherapy-related advocacy and professional groups, and we really want to expand our partnerships to include all of you and your organisations around the world, because the WRAD core committee can't make WRAD a success without everyone's input, ideas, support and passion, and that's really why we've invited you to join with us in this session today. So just before we kick off, we will be using Mentimeter like we did last time, just to do a very quick poll to ask you some questions. So if I can ask you to have your phones and devices ready to scan a QR code in a few minutes, that would be fantastic, and let us save a bit of time. And some of you that have seen it before will remember that this wonderful video that was actually contributed to by many of you. Please watch it again and enjoy. We hope there'll be many more like this, linking to our very first theme messages and branding, all of which will be released today. So sit back and enjoy.
Today we are here to share with you the importance of radiotherapy in cancer treatment. I introduce to you the first World Radiotherapy Awareness Day 2025. Research is our resource. We build for the future. Here we go.
I'm joining the World Radiotherapy Awareness Day initiative because I believe by working together, we can improve outcomes for patients around the world.
And I'm supporting World Radiotherapy Awareness Day, as every patient who has cancer deserves the right to know if radiotherapy is an option for them.
I believe that together we can show the world what a different radiotherapy can make for all our cancer patients.
Because I know the vital role radiotherapy plays in cancer treatment.
I want to see everyone get fair access to this vital cancer treatment.
A global community coming together to improve access to a life-saving cancer treatment. What could be more powerful than that?
As an advocate from a country of over 220 million people with barely 10 functional linear accelerators, I support the World Radiotherapy Awareness Day.
Let's come together and celebrate their resilience and highlight the critical role radiotherapy plays in cancer care worldwide.
We know that people are missing out on this life-saving treatment, and I want to see that change.
Because harnessing radiotherapy is our best chance to transform global cancer care.
Because I believe it's an opportunity to raise the appeal of careers in radiation therapy.
Radiotherapy saved my life, and I believe that all cancer patients around the world should have fair access to this life-saving treatment.
I believe passionately that all patients requiring radiotherapy should have equal access to the highest quality of treatment.
Accessibility is very varied depending on where you live in the UK, let alone where you live in the world. Let's fight for more funding, more research, more investment.
Like so many others, I'm only here because I received timely and effective radiotherapy. So I'm going to do everything I can to help others receive the same effective and timely radiotherapy treatment. So come on everyone, let's get behind World Radiotherapy Awareness Day and make this happen. Go on, I dare you.
Thank you. So before we go any further, although I know the majority of you were at our November event and experienced firsthand the amazing global radiotherapy community response to the WRAD call for action, some of you couldn't attend. So I'm just going to briefly recap the objectives of WRAD and where we've come to date. So in terms of the objectives, the first is to raise awareness about the role of radiotherapy for cancer treatment. Second, to highlight the need to improve access to radiotherapy, which is a major issue globally. Third, to educate healthcare professionals, patients and policymakers about the vital importance of radiotherapy. And last but not least, to recognise the importance of the radiotherapy professionals, including the need for an adequate skilled workforce. We believe that a recognised World Day will amplify our efforts and address these challenges globally. In November, in conjunction with London Global Cancer Week, we ran a hybrid session with over 400 in-person virtual registrants and nearly 100 live stream views on YouTube. The massive support and enthusiasm for WRAD was amazing. Through surveys and mails, we've collected fantastic feedback to shape the WRAD event for 2025 and into the future. Since November, we've been busy contacting individuals and societies across the radiotherapy family, asking for support in creating a World Radiotherapy Awareness Day. The main aim today is to share some of those decisions about WRAD based on your valuable input, as well as plans forward to how we can support WRAD to make it a success. Most importantly, we hope you will leave inspired to carry forward the work of WRAD in your local countries, regions and networks, and tailor WRAD to what is most important for your community.
So just to keep you waiting a little bit longer, we'd like to see who you are and where you're coming from, of course acknowledging that we're missing some big chunks of the world, for instance, particularly in the Americas due to the inconvenient time zones. Also, please, just to remind you to share your input on the chat function, which we will be moderating and collecting feedback and questions, although we won't be able to deal with individual things today, but I can see lots of comments coming in. So thank you very much. So if you've got your phones ready, we're going to get you to scan on the QR code. And actually, that's the second question, if possible. Oh, we'll do that first. That's okay. We want to know what region you either work in or live in. We'll collect that information first. Hopefully, we can see that real time on our screen. Perhaps we slightly selfishly set this webinar in time zones that suited most of the core committee, so maybe not surprisingly. We've got Europeans and Australasia and Asia and Pacific representatives. That's probably a good time zone for you. Some of the colours are very similar here, so it's a bit hard with my eyes to work it out, but I think we do have a sprinkling from North Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, definitely the UK. So that's a really lovely spread. So hopefully the second question, might be going backwards, Darian, with the questions, is about what your relationship or connection is to radiotherapy. I'm hoping that you can actually see the options there relatively easily. So for those of you that can't, we've got the radiation therapy professionals on the left-hand column. We've got the organisational and society representatives. In the next column, patients, family members or carers, or what we could call consumers in some parts of the world, then sponsors or potential sponsors, and then an other category, which we'd be very interested to know who the others are. And perhaps this does reflect pretty closely what we found at our last November session. We've got a nice sprinkling, lots and lots of radiation oncology professionals, but a really good spread of organisation representatives and sponsors, or potential sponsors, which is very exciting, seeing as we've got 8, which is more people than have already pledged up to giving money so far. So we'll be definitely trying to find out who you are. And one of the others has just declared who they are. Thank you, Charlotte. That's great. Okay, so we've got a great representation like before. I'll pass you back to Katie. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you. Although in this 1-hour webinar we don't have time to hear from everyone, we've invited a few individuals to speak to us today. They represent different regions and different viewpoints, and will put a spotlight on some of the challenges faced and why they think supporting RAD is really important. So to kick off the spotlights, we've asked the fabulous Andy Tudor, who's experienced radiotherapy and you will recognise from our video, to tell us why he thinks RAD is important for people with cancer. Over to you, Andy.
Thanks, guys, and you can hear me all right. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm Andy. I'm the patient rep on the board of Radiotherapy UK, so I can be grown up occasionally. I'm here really and able to talk to you because I had successful stereotactic radiotherapy 3 years ago. I had a brain tumour that was growing quite quickly, but it was suitable to be treated. And the recent scans 3 years later show that it has been destroyed, and I should be clear from now on. So I'm living proof, really, that radiotherapy works, that it gives you life. It's a life-giving treatment, but also gives you quality of life, which is also just as important. So I was lucky that I live fairly close to world-class radiotherapy treatment in England. And I realise that many people around the world do not have that luxury or that ability to get treated so easily and quickly as I was. So for me, part of radiotherapy or World Radiotherapy Awareness Day is to try and raise awareness, but also to try and ensure we give as many people around the world equal access to radiotherapy, because it's such a life-giving treatment. And wouldn't it be great if we lived in a world where the first time you hear about radiotherapy isn't when you're told you need it, which I think is the case for most cancer patients. So, and believe me, when you're told you need radiotherapy to cure your cancer, your brain isn't really receptive to wondering what radiotherapy is. It's other things, shall we say. So let's raise awareness of radiotherapy. Let's make sure that we can demystify it, that people are aware of it, that they know that it's there as an option. So if we can do those two things, we will truly be saving lives and quality of life right around the world. So I'm excited to be here and I can't wait to hear what's going to happen. So let's do this, guys. Let's make this happen, because we are saving so many people's lives. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Andy, for those words. Next, we're going to hear from Ika Jamaluddin, who's a medical physicist, and she's also the representative for the Malaysian Association for Medical Physics.
Hi, good morning. Okay, so I'm Ika, a medical physicist. So we do know that radiotherapy is a crucial part of cancer treatment, which, like Andy said, it helps thousands of patients in the process of the treatment. So while doctors and radiation therapists are often seen at the forefront of patient care, medical physicists like us usually work behind the scenes to ensure that every treatment is delivered safely and accurately. But however, we also face several challenges in terms of improving treatment quality of radiotherapy, especially in Malaysia or in Asian region. So the first challenges that we do usually encounter is in terms of daily operational challenges, where sometimes we have machine and server breakdowns which can disrupt the treatment. So when the radiotherapy treatment machine or the treatment planning systems encounter technical issues, especially in Malaysia or in my center, the immediate troubleshooting is not always available, which leads to delays and also in some cases treatment interruptions. So the second challenge that we face is in terms of staffing shortages and also work-life balance. There are not enough trained medical physicists to meet the growing demand for radiotherapy services in Malaysia and also in Asia. And in addition to that, in Malaysia itself, 63% of radiotherapy physicists are women, and 25% of them play the primary caregiver role in their household. So balancing the demanding workloads with family responsibilities is challenging, especially in a field that requires long hours, emergency machine checks, and also continuous quality assurance to be given. So the third challenge is that I would like to highlight, and I think it's quite important, is affordability and also access to advanced treatments in Malaysia. So techniques like IMRT, SRS, SRT, SBRT, which offer better precision and outcomes than conventional 3D CRT, come at a higher cost. So some patients cannot afford these treatments in some hospitals where charges are significantly higher. While government hospitals offer this advanced technique at a lower cost, this leads to long waiting lists, delaying treatment for those who need it. So despite working behind the scene, we medical physicists play a critical role in ensuring treatment quality, patient safety, and technological advancement in radiotherapy. And we hope that we through collaboration, training, and also innovation, we are committed to make radiotherapy safer and more effective for all patients. So with that, thank you.
Thanks so much, Ika, and for sort of highlighting some of those sort of global challenges that we all face, as well as sort of those aims that we aim to give our patients quality treatment. Next, I'd like to introduce Michelle Leash, who's a professor of radiation therapy at Trinity College Dublin. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks, Katie. Well, I'm just delighted to be here this morning and to be part of this fabulous organising committee for this really important initiative for our specialty. I think it's important to support World Radiotherapy Awareness Day for several reasons, actually. First of all, as all of us here know, radiation therapy is an incredibly effective treatment, yet it is underfunded in most regions of the world. From what we've heard, having no funding or no treatment machines or linear accelerators at all in some regions, to being underfunded relative to other oncology specialties in other parts of the world. So by supporting World Radiotherapy Awareness Day, together we can demonstrate to policymakers around the world how important it is to properly address radiation therapy funding and to make sure that there's access to radiation therapy for all citizens who need it, wherever in the world they happen to be. Second, as a radiation therapy educator myself, supporting World Radiotherapy Awareness Day will provide a focus on the inequities in education for radiation oncology professionals around the world that unfortunately currently exist. Every health professional, no matter where they are, who works with people with cancer, only wants to provide the best care that they can. But without high-level education to do so, this is difficult. By supporting World Radiotherapy Awareness Day, we can lobby ministries of education and health around the world to ensure that radiation oncology health professionals are educated to the highest standard. And receiving treatment from professionals who have this level of education should be a right, or is absolutely a right of any global citizen with cancer. And finally, I'm supporting World Radiotherapy Awareness Day, as together we can inform the public, as Andy said earlier, that radiation therapy is a safe and effective treatment for cancer, and we can dispel any myths that surround its use that may prevent people from selecting radiation therapy as a treatment. So together with one voice, we can make this happen. So I'm encouraging everyone to join us and support World Radiotherapy Awareness Day when we reveal our big date shortly. So thank you very much, Katie.
Thanks, Sandra. Great words there. We were due to hear from Dr. Solomon Kabudi, who's a clinical oncologist at the Uganda Cancer Institute. I'm not sure that he's been able to join us today. Solomon, if you've logged in under a different name, if you could just sort of indicate that you're here and we can spotlight you. If not, we'll move on and hope maybe to hear from you later.
Yeah, we might be able to stick Solomon in.
Okay.
If
Over to
he
you,
arrives.
Sandra, then.
Yeah. So thanks to all our inspiring speakers today. Just to note that we would really like to hear all of your stories and spotlight many other people and activities around the world. So please be in contact with us for a bit more on that later on. And particularly when we have our website, we'd really love to hear about what's going on in places in advocacy and places around the world. More on that a bit later. So, but if you're working on a project, please be in touch with us. There'll be hundreds of them. So we've got many stories over many years that we can highlight and increase the power of our voice advocating for radiotherapy. But now what you've all been waiting for, and I'm going to get the help of Lucinda here. Hello.
Dancing in and outy.
I don't know, shuffling. I'll fix my screen. We've been told that we do much better when we're just without our liney screen. Of course, can I find it when we need to? Nope. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okie dokie. I'll just kick over to you, Lucinda,
All right.
for the introduction.
So thanks, Sandra. Let's play our wonderful countdown video to ring in the big announcement.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
2, 1.
The countdown is over and the awareness begins. One day, one voice, one goal, raising the awareness of radiotherapy. Radiotherapy matters and it is time to share it.
So thank you to everybody who contributed to that video. So Sandra, let's talk firstly about the date for RAD, which is September 7. It already sounds special. I love the alliteration. Can you share with everybody online what's special about September 7 and why is it an important day for radiation oncology?
Thanks, Lucinda. Well, as you know, many of you would have voted in the poll about what day we should have World Radiotherapy Awareness Day. And there were lots of options around November, you'll remember, but we also had a lot of feedback that got muddled up with other things, Marie Curie Day, Women Who Curied, the physics events, International Medical Physicists Day, and many others. And we had a recommendation from one of our supporters that what about September the 7th? Now, who knew, but this actually is a landmark date for radiotherapy. So the first patient ever treated on a modern linear accelerator was in 1953. And it was a dedicated medical linear accelerator that was at the Hammersmith Hospital in the UK in London, made by a company called Metropolitan Vickers, and lots of very clever people, including engineers and physicists, I'd say particularly. And this first LINAC looked very much like this. It's not actually this one. This was one from Stanford University, which was installed 2 years later and treated little Gordon here who had retinoblastoma. And as you know, many other lives and suffering has been saved since by radiotherapy. So it would have looked at a machine very like this. We actually chose this day in the end after throwing it around for a few reasons. One is because there wasn't much happening in September around radiotherapy, and it's a nice gap between World Cancer Day and all those other dates marking radiotherapy. And it also represents a sort of modern era of high quality and safe radiotherapy, which very much aligns with what we're trying to promote with RAD.
Thank you. And now for the beautiful RAD logo. There was so much input from so many wonderful people from around the world about the look, the feel, the elements of it. And everyone online right now who looks at it, I'm sure might see different things. It might mean different things to them, like a beautiful piece of art, like a Picasso, which is, of course, what we want. Talk me through the story of the logo.
So the story is this. It did go on a few twists and turns over time, but we wanted orange because we thought it's a very positive colour. It aligns with the World Cancer Day logo, but it's quite different from this. It's not a colour that's associated with other cancer organizations in particular, like prostate cancer or breast cancer. So it's unique, it's warm, it's about people, it's about the world. The lines could represent whatever you like. Some people might see isodose lines here. Some people might see voice waves radiating out around the world and connecting people. So you make of the logo whatever you like. And we'd love you to tell us what it means to you.
And I find it very relaxing, to be honest. So, so now for the RAD overarching theme, which is one voice, which I think really captures the fact that RAD is a truly global movement where the whole RAD-ONC community the world over has joined forces to help people with cancer, no matter where they live. So tell us more about the theme and how people can help strengthen it.
Can we have our theme slide just so people can see very clearly? So our theme for the first 3 years of RAD is going to be one voice for radiotherapy. I think it's fairly self-explanatory. It's about all of us coming together with one voice to amplify our voice for the good of patients around the world and to promote our amazing treatment. We are very cognizant of the fact that we need to make this work in multiple languages, and we've already started looking at some translations. And in some languages, in fact, it doesn't exactly work as a literal translation. So we've got already, and we'd like more input to get this same meaning, but in something that works in your language. And this also will link to our messages, which you'll see in a minute.
Well, yes, let's get on to the messages, which of course are the messages that we want the whole world to hear. Can you talk us through the messages and how people can use them?
So the messages are here. They repeat the one voice idea. So one voice for every patient to have access to modern radiotherapy, one voice for curing cancer and easing suffering with radiotherapy, one voice for raising awareness of radiotherapy as a safe, effective and advanced treatment, one workforce voice for well-educated and skilled radiotherapy professionals, and one voice to make lasting change for cost-effective global cancer care through radiotherapy. And the idea of all these messages is that they're all available to you to use in your societies, organisations, individually, for whatever purpose you think is helpful. We know that people have often similar but different issues in different parts of the world. Some of these messages will resonate more with you than others. But we want to be consistent in our messaging. And so if we can use these and tailor them to our particular problems, areas, organisations, we feel this will have a lot of power in sending cohesive messages to all the people that we're trying to talk to and influence.
Hear, hear. So now we have our social media tags, if we can bring those up. How and when should people around the world use these?
So that is not the tags. Thank you. So at the moment, we're working on our socials. We are using the most favourable and perhaps politically correct channels. We've voted on that within our committee, and we'll launch those to you. But these are our hashtags, and we want you to start using them now. So we deliberately have one as World RT Day because, as you know, some parts of the world would prefer to call our therapy radiation therapy. Others use more commonly radiotherapy. So we think this works for both, and it's okay to use both of those terms. And then obviously hashtag RAD. over the next few months, we'll actually launch our social channels and get you to link in there. Share some of your stories and some of these videos as well.
Thank you. And lastly, the website homepage, www.worldradiotherapy.org. And this is the landing page where you and everyone in your network can sign up for RAD. What can people expect from the RAD website, Sandra, and how can they use it to get involved in the day itself?
Well, I'm hoping if you use that QR code, you can actually land on a placement a website, which we've seen just today. It's been created so that people can register and leave their details. And it's really a holding page that we will be building out over the next few weeks and months as we get funding. But we hope this is going to be a way that we can get you supported. We'll provide resources. We'll make sure that we've got opportunities for you to give feedback. We will have some templates that you can use leading up to World Radiotherapy Day. We will have news, and we will be able to showcase some of your projects and activities that you're doing. Plus, it will house our videos. And as time goes on, we hope many other resources that will help you. So watch this space.
I'll be making it my homepage tonight. All right, I'm going to exit stage right. Thank you. And I hope everybody's loved all the elements that we've launched.
Great, thank you. So we've got another very exciting announcement today, one that's been such a key part of building a sustainable movement for global advocacy. We would like to thank the following companies who've pledged sponsorship for World Radiotherapy Awareness Day. So a really big thank you to Varian, to Icon, and to Genesis Care. We are really grateful to our wonderful connections in the radiotherapy industry who believe in reaching more patients through advocacy. I want to especially thank our colleagues from these companies who support the mission. They've come to the table with commitments in a very short time, and we can't thank them enough for their massive support. We are in discussions with more potential sponsors and are eager to have the entire radiotherapy community support this effort. We are calling on all those in a financial position to support RAD to be in touch, so please don't hesitate to contact Sandra or myself. We wouldn't be able to commit to the next steps and make RAD a sustainable endeavour without generous sponsorship. So thank you.
I did note that Solomon jumped on. So Solomon, I wonder if you would mind jumping in now and giving us a couple of minutes about just spotlighting what's happening in your part of the world in terms of radiotherapy and why you're keen on supporting World Radiotherapy Awareness Day.
Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. I'm Solomon Kibude, a radiation oncologist from Uganda in East Africa. Here in Uganda, over the last decade, we've had progressive improvement in infrastructure. And this was triggered at a time when the only cobalt radiotherapy machine broke down. And at the time, it was serving over 90 million people from Uganda and surrounding countries. This scarcity of equipment illustrates the key importance of radiation. We think the breakdown ignited the government to realize the importance of investment in radiation. We are glad at the moment we have 3 true beam linear accelerators, and we are building capacity, but we're not yet there. Within our clinics, we see several patients in need, and this shows the importance of the World Radiotherapy Awareness Day. We hope that governments and all institutions can direct more attention and focus into investments in radiation. Our team here strongly supports the World Radiotherapy Awareness Day. Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be part of this.
Thank you for your words. And while you were talking, I actually saw, I said I wasn't going to respond to the chat, but somebody actually said, could we share the screen background for people to use, and that's absolutely what we love you to do at any event or conference or whatever, to get a bit of interest in and get your colleagues asking why you've got that screen and what it is. So excellent idea, that person that said that. Thank you. So just moving on with the agenda, we will tell you a bit more afterwards about the next steps and what our calendar is through over the next few months. But we thought we'd like to showcase a couple of societies that have jumped on board really early, and we're very grateful for that. But they have shown real commitment to growing the RAD family through activities at their forthcoming meetings. So in that vein, it's really my pleasure to invite Barbara Jurassic-Fossa, who's the next president of ESTRO, to say a few words about why ESTRO have decided to commit to that and what they're planning to do in a month or two in Vienna. Thanks, Barbara.
Hello to everybody. Hello to everybody. I'm really amazed by what you do, and I think it's a great way to improve the presence of radiotherapy in the world. So it's an honor to stand here today as a president-elect of ESTRO. Radiotherapy is more essential than ever, yet too many people still don't know its true value. ESTRO proudly support World Radiotherapy Awareness Day because raising awareness is not just important, it's really necessary. We want the world to see what we see every day. Radiotherapy is a key pillar in cancer treatment. And yet, even in Europe, 1 out of 4 people with cancer does not have access to radiotherapy. So this is an issue everywhere. Patients need better access, policymakers must prioritize it, and public needs to understand its power. We need to be part of all conversations on cancer, and as you know, quite often we are underrepresented. But awareness alone is not enough. We must speak up, take action, and push for change. RAD gives a chance to amplify our message, engage our voices, and inspire action. At our next ESTRO conference in May in Vienna 25, we will highlight RAD in many ways. There will be rotating slides before and after every session, so it will be really well exposed. Key people from RAD, Katie Wakeham, will speak at National Societies meeting. We have the meeting of about 100 national societies in our ESTRO society, so it will be really another important presentation of the initiative. There will be panel discussion also in some other sessions, RTT sessions about new projects and initiatives. I encourage each of you to think about how you can integrate RAD into your own meetings, discussions, and initiatives, whether through dedicated sessions, panel discussions, social media, or any other outreach efforts. Every action counts. Let's make this a movement, not just campaign. Let's work together to ensure that radiotherapy gets its recognition, investment, technology, and research investment, obviously, and support it deserves. Together we can shape the future of radiotherapy. Together we can change and save lives. Thank you again for being part of this initiative.
Thank you, Barbara, for those words. We're very, very grateful to ESTRO for having really jumped in with us. It's so important to us. Thank you. So next, it's my pleasure to invite Nala Gaffa. Nala, hello, with the lovely jazzy Northern or Southern Lights screen. We're very grateful that you've come to talk to us on behalf of Aortic, the African organisation in cancer. Thank you. You're muted, Nala.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you today and join in RAD activities. Radiotherapy, as you know, is very essential. It's a cornerstone for the management of most cancer patients. In fact, like 80% of cancers can benefit from radiotherapy. And yet the access to radiotherapy is so much limited, especially in where I'm representing. I saw that nobody's joining from, at that time, there was nobody joining from Africa or North Africa or from even Middle East countries. And representing Aortic and 52 countries that we have in Africa. And when we know the situation that 20 countries don't have any radiotherapy facilities, and in the remaining 32 countries, you can have 1 or 2 facilities only in the country, and that is a huge problem. I remember patients when we send them for radiotherapy in another country, in another city, for example, for a lot of reasons, they come back after several months with recurrence. I remember this lady who received her proper surgery, proper chemotherapy in time, but not the radiotherapy. And as our colleague here, Andy mentioned in the beginning, that misunderstandings about radiotherapy. Just imagine what is happening. A lot of times I see patients, I'm an oncologist myself, and I see patients when they tell them you need radiotherapy, they misconfuse it with chemotherapy, and they would like to just disappear from it. And so that's very important what RAD is doing. Aortic is committed to partner with RAD, and we have our next conference in November. It's the 15th conference for aortic, and RAD is going to have a table there, and you're all invited. I send the conference link in the chat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nala, very much. I think it's just so important to have representation from your part of the world, Africa, and as you say, Middle East. And we have had great Mestro support as well on that note. So I'm going to hand you over to Katie again, but thank you to our speakers.
Thank you. And now for a really key part of today's meeting. We need the entire community to come together to make the launch on September the 7th of this year a huge success. And what we've done is we've put together a timeline of goals towards the launch of the big day. So coming up, so in April, we'll launch the RAD social media channels. So we ask you to all get involved in that. In May, we'll launch the final RAD website. In June, we will publish the RAD advocacy and media toolkits, and these will be professionally translated into a range of languages. In July, we'll publish a calendar of global community RAD events, and that will be on the website, but also promoted through social media. So please do let us know about any events that are planned, be those, large conference sessions or individual activities. In August, we'll start a countdown and do a real sort of focus spotlight on the radiotherapy community, and that will lead us into the 7th of September for the World Radiotherapy Awareness Day.
And so what we need you to do, and I've actually seen a few questions come in about what people can do for RAD. So you can do lots. If you're part of a society representative or have an office role, please send news about RAD to your members. Please add the RAD website link when, as soon as we've got a bit more up there, perhaps on your web page. Talk about RAD at your events and webinars. Use the RAD background, individuals that applies to as well. So for all of you as individuals, please sign up to receive the RAD news on the website. We already have your addresses and we'll be also using those to communicate with you. Please share the page, the landing page with your colleagues and save the date. And we'll make sure that we send you the recording and you can share that with all of your networks. Please, as we said, plan some kind of event, not only within your organisations, but something within your departments or societies or whatever, friendship groups, for the event of the week of RAD. Now, that might be something small. It might be a morning tea. It might be a fun run. It might be some promotion. It might be in your departments. Please involve patients, people of all types, and get everybody on board. It could be something very small, or as I say, something much larger. Just start thinking now and talking to people about what you might be doing in the lead up to September the 7th. If anybody's checked their diaries, yes, you're correct. September the 7th is actually a Sunday. We know that, but we're talking about a RAD week. There'll be a lot in the lead up to it and in the week after. So feel free to use whatever works for you, the Friday, the Monday, or later in the RAD week. It won't always be on a Sunday, but that's what it happens to be this year. So don't let that put you off. And for potential sponsors and those of you that know potential sponsors, please become a formal RAD sponsor. We can only really keep our activities going and sustainable, not only with a lot of passion and volunteer work, which there's spades of that to go around amongst our organising committee and other people, but we also do need funding to make this a really professional and sustainable movement. I love what Barbara said about not a campaign, a movement. And we need this to last and be successful and last forever. So we'd really be grateful if people contact us. You'll see our emails, Katie or mine, on the next page. We will have an official RAD email address, but in the meantime, please contact us if you want to chat, if you want to give us ideas, if you want to follow up on anything we've said today, or particularly, no, not particularly, but also if you've got some money that you would like to partner with us around to become a financial sponsor.
Great. So as expected, this has been a really sort of wonderful, inspiring session, and we're so grateful for everyone's attendance, input and enthusiasm. Once again, a big thank you to our sponsors, to all the professional organisations that are supporting us, or supporting RAD, I should say, to consumer groups, the media partners, and of course to all individuals.
And with one voice for radiotherapy from our whole radiotherapy community working together, we'll make World Radiotherapy Awareness Day a success. And from there, we will make a real difference for people with cancer. So these are our many supporters here. We've actually had people even today wanting to put their logos on with us on this page. So I'm sorry we haven't been able to include that. But going forward, we will. Your organisations will get promoted as supporters, whether you give us any funding or not. We want everybody to share in this exciting movement. So thank you everyone for your time today. Please be in contact with us and we will be in contact with all of you. Thanks. Good night. Good day, everyone.